Alright everybody, welcome back to the hangar. So the tank is done. I glued the mount in, I put the pickup in. I attached this 8mm tubing with one of these BVM little quick things, and you just pinch with a pair of pliers and slide them down. I really like these. I try to use them as much as possible versus the you know, the lock wire. It's just easier to use, it looks cleaner. So this will go to the UAT essentially, which I'm not going to connect until I figure out where everything's going to go. I try to keep the connections, so think about this. So the longer your fuel system in general, the higher the pump pressures. And if you're borderline on the size that you need to be, when you do a long run of everything, you're going to cause the pump to work much harder on the suction side. So the suction side is everything after the pump. So the tank will plug into this. This is a fill port. This goes out to the pump or your valve or your shutoff, wherever you want to put your shutoff. There's the great debate before or after the pump. I see both. I've done both. I particularly like it after the pump. That way I can shut the fuel off as quick as possible, and everybody's like, well, what if the pump causes it to push the Festo out and spray fuel? It ain't gonna do that. I mean, and if it does, I've never seen it. And my thought on that is to shut the fuel off as fast as possible versus before the pump, which allows the pump to continue to push, in theory, push fuel into the motor and burn. I don't know. Is it better to starve it or to block it? I don't know. Probably better to starve it, you know, but like I said, that's a personal preference. So anyways, so anything after the pump, it's having to pull fuel through the system, and of course it's pulling air from your vent, which is connected up here. And the longer you run that and the smaller you go, it causes the pump to work harder. So that's why I always do 8mm on your vent and your fuel system. Even if you're only like 6mm on the pump in and 4 out, it's just going to make it able to function and pull fuel better and put less demand on the pump. And I see people, they'll do like, you know, all this 6 and 8 tubing in various spots, and then they got a fitting that's only barely 6. Well, you're only as good as the smallest choke point in the system. So it does you no good to do high flow and then have like a UAT that's standard, or a shutoff valve somewhere in here that's only like 6mm if you're 8mm. So you're only as good as your smallest point, and you're never going to hurt anything oversizing it. When you undersize it, you can cause flame outs, you can call it, you know, cavitation of the UAT. Just bad things happen. So always go as large as you can. Now, does a 45 need 8mm? Absolutely not. I would say on a 45 size, anything under, you know, 90, 6mm through the fuel tanks and vent is fine. But if you get above that, you know, 120s, 160s, 180s, 195s, 200s and up, just go all high flow. Just save yourself the headache if you can. So that's just my tips for hits. I've seen it a lot being a former turbine service guy, trying to troubleshoot with people. It's just from my experience, you know, take it for what it's worth, you know. So anyways, the mount, I had to glue this mount on. It's in place. I got the 2 lock nuts. It's done. And what I'm working on now was this guy. So the bracket, this holds the back of it in, and because the tank's not kind of level based on the way they built it, and I also added some rubber to the bulkheads here and here along the bottom, so the tank sits in it's kind of like this on the bottom, so the tank sits in. So I took rubber like this and I kind of went all the way around so the tank's not rubbing and possibly, you know, digging into it. So this is the bracket that goes on top. And you got 2 bolts that hold it. You'll notice that I had to re-drill this side because this tank is not, it's kind of like it's leaning the way they laid it up. And hopefully I'll eventually get another tank. This one just is just a bad layup. So I glued these. These are just some neoprene pieces I glued on to kind of fill the gap, because what you'll see here is when you put this one in and it touches, there's no gap on this side, and there was a big gap on this side, plus the hole didn't line up, which now it does because I re-drilled it. And then you just take your, I forget what this is, an M5 or something, and then you kind of just run these in. I go from this angle, there we go, with a lock nut. Go ahead and get the lock nuts seated on these, and then I'll tighten them down. I just find it's easier to come in from, instead of trying to get your little wrench in here to hold it, it's better to come in from this side and do it. There we go. Oops. These don't have to be super tight, just snug them down. Let me come around from this side. Hope you guys can see this. I didn't realize it, but I normally stock up because I run BVM's high flow on everything, and their tubing. It's good. It's price good, and it's good quality stuff, and it's easy to get. Typically, it's in stock. All right, and I messed up, and I thought I had more vents, but I don't have a vent for this, so I got to order one. So I'm going to be kind of a work stoppage after this. You know, the vent pickup that goes on the bottom essentially comes out of here. I'm going to loop it around a couple times, so when you're rolling and doing all this stuff that you don't, you know, it allows fuel to kind of stay in the curling part of your tubing versus just coming out the vent. And it'll be down here on the bottom probably. Based on this, if I can get to it, I might just do it right here on the edge of the wing. That's a perfect spot. Just plug right in there. It kind of will go right down through here. So it'll come out, I'll loop it twice, and then run it right down to the vent, as long as I can get to it. But I didn't want to, I have other vents, like from my stock that I had, still like JMP stuff, but I have the same vent on all my models, so my taxi tank plug and vents, or vent plugs and taxi tank are all the same size. But, so that's in, anyways, and I'll use Tygon for the vent. And because it's just easier to use, and it's it's stiffer, or more stiff than the 8 mil that I have, so it'll be fine for this. That way you don't have any collapsing, because a lot of like Zykoy, Gaspar, and them will say not to use Tygon on your vent because it can collapse. But if you're collapsing 8 millimeter, you got bigger problems. So and this will kind of harden a little bit over time, so that makes it even better. But you can see it's not ideal, but because that tank is angled, it is, you know, it sits in there. And you can see the gap that I had to put. So now, actually that's not even touching, so I could have moved that down. But yeah, oh well. So I may just take this one back off because it's not even doing anything. Well, I'll leave it there. But other than making the OCD person like me like want to scream, no big deal. And like you said, and I think they're gonna change the tank. I know he wants to offer like a CM version tank with it. That'll just take time. So kudos on him. And I'm not going to use this. This is 5 millimeter or 5 liters. Sorry, this is 1 liter supposedly of fuel. This will give me over 7 minutes of flight time with that 195, and that's at full throttle. So flying normal throttle, this will last me 10 minutes. So I'm not even going to bother with that. So you could use it as a UAT if you wanted to, make it a UAT type setup, or you can make it a smoke tank, your preference. So, and then let's see here. I'm going to leave this long. I'll go ahead and slide this on. It's got a good cut already. Oop. Let me get the crimp here. But yeah, I'll order the vent. I should order it tonight, and it'll be here in a few days so I can finish up the build, because that's really, you know, really all I can do other than put the equipment in until I get the pipe. But I'm not going to go hard mounting equipment on this thing until I get the pipe, because I want to see where CG is. Because I started to take this, I'm kind of jumping around, I know, sorry. I started to take this nose cone out because when you look at it, the part of it, there's two bulkheads that run forward that kind of are supposed to glue to the skin. They're not even touching. So I could easily pop this out and save a weight, because this is kind of heavy, and I've already talked about that. And it's perfect if you need to mount batteries in here. So that's my intent, is to push everything as back as far as I can. That way I can put the batteries in here, or you put them right here, because these are nice too. These are nice and flat. And I was gonna do these because I've really kind of become a fan of these batteries from Powerbox, because they got neat mounts. But I've got these that I've been using for years from my buddy, so I'm just going to use those. I'm going to 3D print a mount for them, and hopefully we'll see. It just depends. If it comes out tail heavy and I can put the batteries up here, I'll do it. If not, I'll pull this out, and essentially I'll just cut right through here and it'll come out. So anyways, I digress. But let's get this on here. Spray a little activator on this, and it makes it slide on a little easier. And like I said, this is 8mm. Plenty for this. And then you just take the BVM little clamp here. These are just hose clamps, and you get it right there. Bam. Looks good. Gets a good 180-degree seal on it, and she's good to go. And like I said, I'll loop this around, probably do like one loop. Obviously not that big, but you know, you do a loop up here so that when it's rolling and stuff, the fuel, and I'll probably do it this way. Just do a loop like this. Could even do it around this actually, and then do a loop and then just run it straight down. But I'm gonna leave that a little long. This is long. This is what connects to this one. This is a fill port, and I'll probably take the and cut a slot out of the actual equipment tray versus using an actual mount. So I'll probably just mark it and cut a little piece out right here for the UAT to kind of come up through at an angle, and just have it kind of sit like this, but it'll be like that. That's kind of what you want. Hope you guys can see that. So I'll cut a little place out right there. You know, I mean, I could mount it on top to make it easier to get to. We'll see. You know, I don't want to add more weight to this, just because the UAT mounts that I typically use are a little heavy, and this is heavy, so I don't really need this big. This is kind of a nice piece of carbon. It's ply with carbon lamination, so what I could do is cut this out in light ply, aircraft ply, and then you know, use a UAT mount that's actually a G10 material. It'll look nicer, so I might do that, so we'll see. But that's kind of it, guys. I mean, I'm really kind of about getting to a point of waiting on the pipe, and because I can't mount the engine because I don't know where it needs to go based on the pipe position. And like I said, I don't want to go mounting stuff in here until I know where the batteries are going to need to go. But what I will do is start making some leads, running all the leads up to this area, at least this area here, you know. So that's what I can do next and get everything prepared to that point. So, but that being said, I think I'm gonna kind of call it now, and I'm gonna go enjoy the summer, the nice sun and some pool time, and drink a beer. So Diamond Back It's a Bandit Models for the people just joining. It's a very well built and designed and thought out jet. So far, been no issues to a note other than, like I said, the ones that I've already kind of mentioned. But those are just like me really being in the weeds, nitpicking on this one. So looking forward to the maiden. I'm hoping I can get the pipe and get this done so I can fly it at Georgia Jets, which is in the 8th through the 11th of October in it's near Peachtree City. That's the big city that's near it, but it's actually Gay, Georgia, is I believe the city that it's called. You know, that's actually the name of the city. Great event. I'm from Georgia originally, so it's always nice to kind of get over and hang out with some fellow peaches. And I highly recommend the event if you can ever make it out there. It's a laid back. It's a good time. They got a very nice field there if you can get out there. But that's the plan. Hopefully I can get it flown there for the event. It was in September, but they moved it to October, which kind of sucks. I kind of like the last week or so of September better, because that's actually the 8th is my kid's 18th birthday. It's like my kid's birthday's that week. So kind of can get in the way, but we can just do the kid's birthday before I go and things like that. So, all right, well, you guys have a good one. Hope you enjoy the videos. If you got any questions, comments, complaints, just leave them in the description area or comment area, and I'll get to them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. I'm trying to build the channel a little, because now that I have more time as far as this stuff, you know, why not? You guys have a good one. Cheers.